In this episode, we're going to be talking with Kyle Callaghan, a longtime native of Mobile, who's going to tell us some stories, give us some insights, and going to answer a lot of questions that we have about actually living right here in the city of Mobile.
G100 FM plays more of your favorite songs.
We're Del Shams,
Where the proof is in the pricing.
Super Savings Store.
Hoffman Furniture will approve your credit.
You're listening to
I want to know where to go.
the Living in Mobile, Alabama podcast, where we talk about all things Mobile.
Career's got it, we guarantee it.
Now, here's your host, Jeff Jones.
40888, so don't be late.
So we're super thankful today on the podcast to have our special guest, Kyle Callaghan, a longtime native of Mobile, and also to have our co-host today, Miss Avery Smith.
Hello.
And on the buttons, making everything sound good, we've got John hanging out back there.
Hey.
There you go. There you go. So the goal of this podcast, like all the other episodes, is to get to know people in the city of Mobile who have a story to tell about what it's like to live here. So we're honored to have our special guest, Kyle, and he's going to share some insight. We're going to get to know Kyle, going to ask a lot of questions, and of course, at the end, we're going to have you participate in the lightning round.
Uh-oh.
All right.
That sounds dangerous, especially what's going on the last several weeks or months.
Yep. Well, we're going to ask some questions that are going to be kind of opinionated. So,
okay.
We're going to put you on the hot seat there.
That's fine.
All right.
Sure, he has his opinions.
Well, I want
My
to.
wife says I don't.
That's what she's for.
That's
Yes.
it. That's
Almost
it.
40 years.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So what I want to do is I want to also, let everybody know kind of how we connected. Kyle, I had seen your name around town, but I'd never met you in person. And the other day, I'm hanging out at the house, and I hear a knock on the door, and I go out, and there's this guy standing there, and he's got the name tag on, and then that's what happened. You were out making your rounds, getting to know people.
I am. And first of all, thank y'all so much for allowing me to come on today and talk about old Mobile and Mobile in general and future of Mobile.
That's right.
But, I have been around, I don't think 60 years is that old. I just turned 60 not too long ago. But, I'm running for District 6 City Council here in Mobile, and I have knocked on, as to date, and today's date is what is today, 28th, I think. Probably a little over 1,800 doors.
Wow.
And and that's 1,800 doors.
Yeah, that's 1,800.
That is correct. And we have quite a bit left. And but what's unique, and it's kind of funny, not kind of funny, but so these people who helped me run for this office, they sent this picture and said, "Hey, what about this graphic? Can we use this graphic on the next social media?" And we'll talk a little bit about that. I'm not a big social media person. I said, "Nah, that kind of makes me look overweight." I said, "Why don't we use the one now?" Well, the other day I jumped on the scale, and I've lost almost 30 pounds in the last 5 weeks walking.
Wow.
So
knocking on doors. So that's a great weight program if you want to run for office.
That's it.
Just get out there and run for office and start knocking on doors.
That is incredible. I mean, really, that's that doesn't exactly show up when you search, weight loss programs, but this will be added to the list.
Right.
When you said that, it reminded me, I did some door knocking for a city council member probably 30 years ago. And I was like, it was so hot. I was doing the door knocking, putting out flyers and getting to know people. And so the respect level that I have for you. But what's interesting is that, sure, you're out there, spreading the word about you running for office, but that allows you to really get to know people. And I mean, this place, a lot of people talk about, hey, what's Mobile really like? And when you look it up online, you're going to read certain things and hear about what is published online, but you're getting to know the real stories.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's myself, and there's 3 other opponents that I have. And let me go ahead and just put it on the record. There's 3 wonderful people that's running also. So, Mobile's got a tough decision on July the 25th, coming up soon, of who to vote for. They're 3 wonderful people. Me personally, I think I have the experience and the credentials to be a good councilman here in the city of Mobile. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But speaking about knocking on doors, and I've told you guys how many doors I've knocked on, I have met some of the nicest people, and it's been really good. Not many negative people. kind of have a funny story. I'll think about it a little bit before I tell it. But, I met this person yesterday. 3 days ago, I met this young lady, and she actually, I told my wife this, I think they were swimming out in their pool in the neighborhood I was visiting, and knocked on the door, and she comes out almost like a cheerleader. And I didn't know if I'd known this person because, again, I'm 60 years old, born and raised in Mobile all my life, other than going off to college for a couple of years. And so I know a lot of people. And it's when you get my age, of course, I know you're young, you're pretty young too, people change. I'm not blonde haired anymore. I believe my wife says it's gray. So people change. So I didn't know if I knew this lady or not, but she comes out and just does almost like a cheer and says, I can't believe you're here. I can't believe you're here. I need a sign in my yard. I need a sign in my yard. And I'm thinking, do I know her? And I don't want to say, what's your name? Because that's not a polite thing to say. So I just said, well, have you read what I've done? And she goes, yes, my husband, I read what you've done. It's great. You'll be a great council person. We want a sign in your yard. So I told her at the very end after I spoke to her, I said, you're the type of person in Mobile that everybody needs to act like. I mean, great positive attitude. And I said, you're the type of person that makes me want to get up in the morning and continue to knock on 1,800 more doors.
And what's interesting about that is I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were telling me, hey, the things we see online, they're talking about Mobile being on episodes of the First 48 and those kind of things. But that's, of course, shining a negative light. And it's our responsibility as citizens that really love Mobile to do our best to shine a positive light. And that is literally thinking about, hey, what's positive? What can we do that's encouraging? How can we get involved with the community? How can we do those kind of things? We really have to do our part. I guess, like you're saying, this young lady is doing that, and
and I met, this is a couple of days ago, and then I met one yesterday, also a lady, and she just came out smiling. I was like, okay, what is she smiling at? Got something on my face or something. But it's just the attitude, just wonderful, wonderful attitude. And I'm really I don't know. I try to put a lot of humor in things. Life's too short to be depressed. Life's too short to be negative. I'm the youngest out of 4 brothers of the Callahan boys. That's some more stories down the line about I'm the youngest, so I got beat up all the time. No, I won sometimes too, Avery.
Good.
But this lady was just so wonderful, and my dad always taught us to be positive, and so I try to put a lot of humor in things. And my wife, I woke up this morning, I was singing and being my joking self. And by the way, we're empty nesters. Our daughters are grown and out of the house, thank God. And so she said, you're always in a positive mood. And my dad taught us like that, to be in positive moods. And so I tell people, because they ask me, are you always this nice and kind and smiling? It's 110 degrees out here, and you're smiling. And I said, yes. I mean, I'm always like that. I try to go to bed in a positive mood. I try to wake up in a positive mood. Go to bed on my knees, kneeling down, praying, and I wake up kneeling down and praying. So life is too short to be a negative person.
For sure.
Completely. I went to McDonald's recently, and in the drive-thru, I was getting my daughter a hamburger, and I just did normal. Oh, please, thank you, may I? And when she was like, why are you so nice? Why are you being so nice to me? I'm like, I just said please and thank you. Like, what do you mean? So it's just shocking that it just shocks people when people say please and thank you.
Right. And you told me your age earlier. I'm not going to tell people your age. And that's so true, and I'm not discrediting young people, okay? But that's gone away.
It's depressing.
And how many times have y'all heard, I'm speaking to the two older guys, that, yes, sir, yes, ma'am.
It's a rarity.
Some people think that you're up to something when you say that.
It's a derogatory thing from other places around the country. I've had many scenarios where I'm working with clients, from the Northwest and different places where they wonder if I'm being a smart aleck. If you say yes, ma'am, oh, he's being a smart aleck, not I was just born and raised that way, and that's the only way I know how to respond.
Sure.
It's been really interesting. Growing up in Mobile, of course, we have that Southern hospitality built in to us. Like, this just part of our culture. a lot of folks around the country, they don't know how to take that.
No, and I tell a lot of people, my dad, again, I'm the youngest out of four. My dad probably should have been the person running for office. He was born and raised. Let me give you a little background. We're fourth generation Callahans here. You know, for 60 years, I get asked two questions. Number one question: are you related to Sonny Callahan? I get that all the time. Sonny Callahan and his wife Karen were wonderful people. Great congressman. Served us well here, especially for the veterans. I don't know if y'all know. I mean, anytime I talk to a veteran, are you kidding Sonny Callahan?
Huh.
Because he did this for us. He did that for us. So wonderful guy. My last name, Callahan, we have a G in it.
Okay.
Of course, coming from Ireland, it was O'Callahan, and my middle name's Patrick Callahan.
There you go.
And we'll talk about Callahans here in a minute. But they dropped the G in their name. And Sonny's younger brother, George Callahan, which is still living, nice guy, I see him occasionally. He told a story one time, and I was like, George, why did y'all drop the G? He said, Kyle, I guess you never heard the story. And I went, no, I haven't. And he goes, we were goat thieves in Ireland, so we had to drop the G.
Wow.
That's George for you.
That's funny. That's
Stole
funny.
too many goats in Ireland, so
Yep.
we had to drop the G in our name.
That's great. Well,
And then also the second one I'm always asked, and I get this asked while I'm knocking on doors: are you related to the bar and pub downtown? How are you related to? Yes, that's my great uncle Woodrow Callahan that started Callahan's in 1946. Now a good friend of mine, John Thompson, a lot of people call him JT. I know him as John Thompson. That we graduated from McGill, Tulane in 1981, owns the facility now, and I think he has a couple partners. And he owns a couple of restaurants. Nixon's and Mancey's across the bay.
So I think it's so interesting that Callahan's has this it's like a really strong cult following in Mobile, in this area, and there are people who move to that district, that gorgeous park, all that around there, because they want to have that neighborhood bar, that neighborhood kind of vibe. And I think it's something special. And Callahan's, I mean, I know they're aware of that, but isn't that cool that they have such a following, such a reputation? It's like a destination.
It started out, and again, I'm much older than you guys in this room. It started as a neighborhood, just like you had in Ireland. The pub, and it has great food. We'll talk about that. But when I was growing up in the 60s, early 60s and 70s, that whole neighborhood or the whole corner where Callahans, they were all Callahans. I mean, if you look at the historical plaques on it was Callahan families that lived all around there. My parents grew up in downtown Mobile off of Maryland Street and Baltimore Street. My grandfather had a restaurant in the 1930s called The Ritz right across from Pullman's Bakery. That's during Prohibition time. So, yeah, I've got a neat little story, but I won't tell it here.
Oh.
But, I mean, there's a lot of history down in downtown Mobile. But I think it's and John Thompson and his gang do a great job, not only with the food, but also the bands. I mean, the entertainment down there. He's got some entertainment that he's had that's appeared on, I think, one of the late night shows,
yeah.
That appeared.
Wow.
So,
Well, I know that Callahan's has a strong reputation, and when people come to Mobile, they ask us, hey, what do we need to do? Because a lot of times when they're working with us, they may only be here for a couple of days. And so it's definitely on the list. And then, of course, that whole area, Midtown, downtown, all of that is just, I think the thing we get the most from people is they cannot believe the oak tree canopy in that whole area, the lush greenery. And we take that for granted here. I mean, so many people, they're like, I can't believe how green it is. I'm like,
right,
just how it is.
And let's see if I can think of this. And I learned this from Callaghan's photo. The most photographed place in Mobile, I think it's Battleship is number one. And the second is where?
Bellingrath Gardens?
That's in there.
The Spring Hill College.
That's it.
That's it. Well,
Avenue of Oaks.
That's it.
Yeah. So I think that's 1, 2, and maybe 3.
It's
3
up there.
Bellingraph may be in there. Could be 2. It's in the top 5.
So Spring Hill also has that chapel at the end of that road, and a lot of people will, well, at least many years ago, I had some.
No, that's actually used to be the president's
Oh,
house.
okay.
But the
President's
chapel is on
house,
the other
chapel.
side. It's, right.
sure there was some
There's
praying in
actually
there.
a really old chapel on there, like really old.
And that's a destination for a lot of high school kids that want photographs for prom, weddings, family photos. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah, the oldest higher education institute in Alabama is what?
Spring Hill College,
There you go.
There you go.
1830. University of Alabama,
1886.
1831.
Oh, 1831.
1 year later.
Yeah, a little bit. So Spring Hill, we
So
got something.
Spring Hill.
Yeah, that's really
So
incredible.
oldest higher education.
Well, talking about the door knocking and the things that you did, you got to know a lot of people. What would you say has been your favorite thing about doing that? Obviously, the connections and getting to know people, but what's maybe the strongest memory that you've taken away, and how, if you get elected, how that's going to play a role, in how you work with the city?
That's a good question, because it's hot right now. We've already established that. How much weight I've lost, we've established that. So people will give you, some will give you more than 30 seconds. But like I said, I've have my career and everything I've done in 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. But what I've appreciated the most is how much people in District 6 is in tune to what's happening and what District 6 needs. Mm-hmm. And I mean, at the very end, I'll say, what's your concerns of District 6? And I mean, and they're genuine. I mean, they're concerned about everything going on. And District 6 has some very educated, very, very concerned citizens. And what I've seen in the last couple months is, we have some, I mean, things are going great in District 6. And we have businesses, we have restaurants, we have our crime rate is actually half of what it was last year.
Wow.
Chief Paul Prine is doing a great job, and his staff at the police department, our fire department, our 911 responders do a great job. My wife and I live in Regency. It's no secret, where I live. Mm-hmm. It's plastered over all kind of boards.
Great neighborhood.
And then we have the busiest fire station right across the street from Regency. Mm-hmm. It does a great job. But I would probably say what I've not been surprised about is what I've learned, what problems we have in District 6 and how people are concerned of getting them rectified. Mm-hmm. And I'll go ahead and move on to, people talk about, I'll ask them, what's your number one concern? And, of course, people say safety. We had an incident, I think it was last Friday, at the new car wash off of Greenlight Road. Unfortunately, we had that happen, so that drove up crime rate a little bit, higher than it was in half. So I think the police department found out it was domestic matters, which that can happen anywhere. It can happen in this house, next door, anywhere, in Mobile, anywhere, at any time. So, but I tell people that our crime is not only important in our neighborhoods, in our city, in our county, state, and federally. I mean, that's the number one problem that we face. I mean, you can't open up some type of social media without a mass shooting going on. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get into the gun carrying and not gun carrying and taking our guns away. I'm not going to get into that. But, I think responsibility of crime, the crime punishment. But the second most interesting thing that people say is our traffic congestion in District 6.
This is quite a topic.
Our traffic congestion in District 6. Now, I appreciate it, and then I don't appreciate it. Mm-hmm. I appreciate it right now because when we do our sign waving,
you get a lot of traffic.
If you go on Greenlight Road and you go on Hillcrest, the traffic's great for sign waving because it's thousands of cars that stay there. Got a little trivia for you. The busiest intersection, I got a little lightning going on, y'all. Busiest intersection in the state of Alabama has more cars that go through the intersection. Is where?
You want to guess first?
I would say Hillcrest I guess it's in Mobile, but Hillcrest and Cottage Hill. No. Okay.
I'm gonna say it's between two, so I'm gonna get partial credit here.
Well, there's 1 and 2, and they're real close together.
Okay, either University and Airport or McGregor and Airport.
Just the opposite of way you said
Oh,
that.
McGregor and Airport first, and then University and Airport
That's
second.
1 and 2.
Wow,
State
the
of
whole state of Alabama.
Yes.
That is
Wow.
crazy.
More cars go through there. Right.
Wow, that's really
Consistent.
saying something.
Yeah, the traffic count.
Hmm.
I'm sure Greenlight and Hillcrest is pretty darn close, and Greenlight,
Probably
Hillcrest and Cottage Hill.
Yeah, I'm always getting in that line to go to my mom's house, and I'm all the way almost to like the 3-notch, waiting on that one light.
Yeah. It's really the problem that I've seen, and I know that there have been a lot of conversations about this, but is the congestion at Hillcrest and Greenlight that it's there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's 4-lane right there as you're heading south, but you can't expand, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes, that's true. And I'm very, I'm criminal justice major, not a traffic engineer major.
Sure.
But I spoke with a young traffic engineer not too long ago, and he explained to me that our sensors and our traffic lights are broke. That they're off time. They're running off timers now. So that's a concern. The former council person, Bess Rich, told me that one time she had it allocated for Hillcrest Road for all the traffic lights to be repaired. Okay. But the cost was, I think, a little bit much than they wanted to spend. So I do a lot of research. Of course, with my 30-year law enforcement, that's what I'm going to do. So can anyone tell me who invented traffic lights?
I went to
And
a
what
whole,
year?
Oh my gosh! I went to a field trip on this. I don't
You
know.
didn't take notes?
For traffic lights?
No,
Where
it
did
was-
you go?
No, it was all inventions
different.
from African Americans, and it was everything that they've ever invented. I was little.
I do have the answer of both questions I asked, but I don't know what race they were. That would be interesting to find out. But so
traffic lights.
Traffic lights were invented in 1920 by Officer Pott, a police officer in Detroit, Michigan.
Huh.
They use some of the same technology that they use today
Wow.
in traffic lights. So, and then I furthered my research, and Carnegie Mellon University out of California has invented a new traffic light that works like a smartphone.
Imagine that.
How much they cost?
No telling.
No telling. But the way, if I'm elected, the way that I would look at it, common sense would be, okay, where's our traffic? What's the most congested part? Where do we need to put these? Do we need to buy 1? Do we need to buy 10? Start doing it now. Because our traffic, and hopefully our annexation, I don't know if you want to talk about that, will pass.
Yeah.
So we'll get more residents in Mobile, city Mobile, so it's going to get more congested.
Yeah. Well, and also with Greenlight, I think it's interesting that, in the past, it was always Airport Boulevard is the #1 thoroughfare. And then things kind of shifted a little bit of the responsibility went over. Now Cottage Hill Road is the 2nd thoroughfare. And what's happened is people said, ooh, I'm going to dodge Airport and I'm going to dodge Cottage Hill and I'm going to take Greenlight. And then it's become this major thoroughfare.
Well, that's very interesting what you just said. It's very interesting because, of course, like I said, I live in Regency neighborhood. And it's very dangerous, by the way, and I mean this all sincerity. What you said is try to negotiate traffic. Where can I get somewhere the fastest? And what also I'm hearing, and Sugar Creek has this problem, people cutting through neighborhoods trying to get to a different location. And there are neighborhoods. Regency, we go from Airport Boulevard to Greenlight Road. Sugar Creek goes from Hillcrest, and it goes out the other end to Greenlight. So, be real careful if you ever do that, which is actually technically against the law. But, for God's sakes, slow down going through a neighborhood. Man, that's a lot of complaints that I get.
Interesting.
People, of cutting through neighborhoods. Huge amount. Enough that people are begging to get the traffic humps in there, the traffic circles, which, no one likes those.
Yeah.
But these people are going, please erect these when you get elected. Or if you get elected.
So Regency, I've thought about that many times, and they had some changes. They had some traffic circles and things put in there. And I thought, man, if you are cutting through there, I mean, you are committed to cutting through because it is quite a job navigating all that,
It is.
And that's interesting. Well, let me ask you this. You know, when we have guests on, we want to hear about their story. But we also have a standard set of questions, and we ask a lot of the same guest or every guest the same question because we get a different perspective from each person. And one of those questions that I wanted to ask you is, what does Mobile do great? What do you think really stands out?
You know, what Mobile does great, I think that, or what Mobile is doing great, and the attitude of the people. I think, we talk about going up north on vacations, and people go, oh, those people are not friendly. You go out west, and, out west has their problems anyway.
Yeah. Different
So
world.
just the personality that we have in Mobile. I was thinking about that question. I knew that would come up. We've got so many opportunities in the city of Mobile, in the county of Mobile. I mean, look what they're doing right now, making a beachfront that everyone can enjoy out on Brookley Field. The new airport coming in, the revitalization of downtown Mobile, what we're doing out in District 6. I mean, Mobile is a beautiful place. I'm a big fisherman and hunter. I mean, if you want to go freshwater fishing, saltwater fishing, hunting, everything is here real close to you.
It's right there.
If you want to go to a big city to the west of us, really within an hour and 50 minutes away, you can go visit that. Or a little bit northeast to us.
So I've heard a version of that answer before about the people. And I think that's great that resonates with so many people.
I've talked to a lot of people here recently.
Yep.
And like I said, there's only really, I would say, out of the couple thousand people that I've talked to, I'd say 3 that was actually rude.
Well, that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm
really
shocked.
Yes, 3.
Get out of here.
Wasn't, well, one was, and that's another story. And then 2 were just kind of dismissed me, like they were not, maybe something in their life was going wrong. I don't know.
But that's a huge testament to the people of Mobile. That's the kind of thing, and I make, with my YouTube channel, I make a lot of videos that talk about the pros and cons of this area, and that's what people want to know. And I always harp on that, the people, the attitudes, the overall mindset. So I think it's pretty cool that you said that.
It is, and they care about it. And as a council person, and I try to relate to them, I will be your voice. I'll be I'll be your ears. I was listening first. In law enforcement, you don't talk a lot, you listen, because what you listen, you write down and you bring to court.
Yep.
So I listen a lot, and so what the people say, that they just want to be recognized in District 6. They want their streets, their property, lighting at night. Speaking about crime a while ago, I try to talk to every neighborhood. The Mobile Police Department has a great program called Project Shield that a lot of people don't know about. That would be interesting to get one of the Mobile Police Department guys to come in and talk about Project Shield. It's where it's a high technology, new technology that you can integrate your cameras into, whether it's your house cameras.
I've heard about
I have
a
not.
little glimpse of this.
Or your cameras. I know in Regency, I hope everybody's listening to this closely. So when you come in the Regency, right behind our marker, our neighborhood marker, we have 2 cameras. So when you come in with your car, it's being recorded, and the license plate's being recorded. So when it comes in, and our cameras in other neighborhoods, some neighborhoods that I thought would have it don't have it, and it's not very expensive. But it goes to the Mobile Police Department, and that tag number is ran through their database.
Wow.
Whether something's stolen, whether somebody's wanted inside that car,
Wow.
or just if something happens that night, they go through it and they go, okay, who was in that neighborhood that day? So we have it in the entrance and the exit off of Greelite, or it could be the entrance and Greelite exit in our airport, whichever.
And so I've been to the police precinct before, and they've got this massive wall of televisions. And so I'm assuming that they can draw.
This what I'm talking about is not even located at the police department.
Oh wow! Oh, it's a little high tech.
Yeah. Oh, it's very, very high tech.
And
I had no idea.
So a little side note: a friend of mine has a Tesla, and those cars have cameras all around, and
even on top.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, you never seen that before?
I don't think I have.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, and I forgot how it works, but it actually can go up above.
Okay, it shows you the view of like when you're okay. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, and the thing about it is, his car was parked. He wasn't in it. It was in the parking lot, and there was an accident or something that happened. And he was able to dial up the footage from that camera and to see that accident happen. So imagine taking that. I know it's wild.
No idea.
Yeah.
So imagine taking that technology and connecting all of these cameras around the city. And I mean, it's going to happen eventually.
Not just commercial cameras, and I tell this to a lot of residents. And, the way I've always viewed things is, my wife and I, we have nothing to hide in our house. I have nothing, I don't do anything wrong. And, it gets back to the Patriot Act. And, I don't want anybody watching what I'm doing in my house. I don't want anybody watching my cameras. And, if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't worry about it. So you can actually take your home cameras, your Ring doorbells, your cameras around your house, and integrate it into Project Shield.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
So if something happens, say you cross the street from your neighbors, they can dial up your camera. And I mean, it's just a plus. It's helping our law enforcement.
Taking bad guys off the street.
Taking bad people off the street.
And there's also the program where with the gunshot alert, I'm not quite
Project Sound, is that what it was called?
I'm not quite sure what it's called, but there's a system integrated where if they hear a gunshot, it will be able to narrow in and find out exactly where that was located. So Mobile, I mean, I think they're being very proactive about crime and handling that. And so that's exciting to me. And
that's funny you said that because I just thought of a story yesterday. So I shut my door yesterday before I started knocking on doors, and I shut it really loud. And all of a sudden my phone and my Apple Watch starts saying, emergency.
Oh, goodness.
And I looked down and it said, "Did you fall?" And of course I was like, "What?" I realized I shut my door really loud. So I'm sure it's same technology.
Yeah.
I was like, "No, I didn't fall. I'm okay."
But thanks for checking in.
Yeah, thanks for checking in. So we've had another city council member on here. We had Corey Penn, and he was telling his story. And one of the things that I found so interesting was he told, the story of the people and what he does and all the interaction and the time commitment that he has. But the thing that registered with me the most was when he talked about restaurants and he named these places that I'd never heard of. And I thought, that's really sad that there could be these amazing places in all these other districts around town that I've never heard of. And I think it's interesting. There are probably places in District 6 that people who live in Corey's district have never heard of or never seen. And so I love the diversity of that, but I don't like the segregation of it because I think that sometimes we kind of stay in our own world. And having Corey on the podcast opened my eyes to so many things about Mobile. And I will say, a lot of times people ask me how diverse is Mobile, and man, I get to answer a resounding, very diverse. So what I would like to say is, I think District 6 has some great places and great things. But are there any places around here maybe that we kind of take for granted, or something that maybe some other people don't know about?
Are you asking me my favorite restaurant?
I'm asking, yeah. Give us some insight there.
I would probably have to say Callahan's is my favorite.
Okay.
It's not in my district or not in the District 6. So, my wife and I, we're kind of laid back when I'm not out on the campaign trail. I'm usually wearing khaki shorts and topsiders or, a relaxed shirt. We like to go to Heroes on Hillcrest Road and O'Shell Road.
Y'all get the crawfish dip?
No, we don't usually get an appetizer. I go straight for the meal.
That's just what everybody says. Like, go to Heroes, you got to get the crawfish dip.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite menu item from Callahan's?
I do. Wednesdays, the Conecuh Burger.
That's my favorite.
That is the favorite.
That's
and I was telling y'all before the show, and I'm not sure what award it. I think it's a statewide award. They won again the best burger in town, or best burger of the state. And I don't know if it's just a hamburger or the Conecuh Burger. I would probably assume it was probably the Conecuh Burger. I know they started announcing it yesterday.
Okay.
I think it's a
Good.
Conecuh burger. Have you had it?
I have not had it. I know. Shame on me. Shame on me.
Go to confession on Sunday.
That's it.
Man, it's wonderful.
It really is.
I like Heroes. My wife and I go to Heroes a lot. We go to Winsel's. Winsel's on Airport. That's a great place. I've got a lot of friends that own restaurants, so I'm trying to. I don't want to get in trouble here. We like to go to Bonefish.
Oh yes, that's my wife's favorite place. Yeah, I'd never been until like 3 years ago. I can't believe
surprising.
that. Yeah, she loves it.
Kind of sits off Airport a little bit, kind of behind a little patch of woods.
And the new place right in front of it. Do you remember the name of that?
Where Fridays used to be?
Yeah,
It's a sushi place.
it's like a Japanese grill or man.
Hibachi,
I've
yeah.
heard hibachi. That's
Yeah, I've heard good things about it too.
I have. So it's really interesting. I think we have a lot of great things here. Now I'm going to take this break, and I actually don't have the cup in front of me.
I'll hand
Avery,
it to you.
you're going to hand it to me. I do want to say that this episode is sponsored in part by Yellowhammer Coffee. If you've listened to this podcast for a long time, you know that I have a great friendship with Jeff and Mo, and they have this incredible vision for coffee, for their love for that. They're really committed to not only great coffee, but also great customer service and great culture. So they're doing some amazing things, and they've got, I don't know how many locations they have.
Getting one right by my house on 90. I'm so excited.
Good for you.
And recently just announced they're going to be putting one in downtown Mobile as well. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they're growing a lot, and they provide some great coffee. So
Good.
So we're thankful for that. But on to another question. You know, we talked about what does Mobile do great, and I would ask you, I guess a summary of what do you think Mobile needs to work on? In general, maybe corporate Mobile. What do you think something that we could work on as a city?
I think we need to work on it. I mean, we're doing a good job promoting our city, but I think we could do a better job promoting our city. I went and listened to, or I was actually speaking before this gentleman came and spoke, our former Congressman Bradley Burns, which is over the Chamber of Commerce now. He gave an amazing speech. I like Bradley, does a really good job speaking. And he told us all the jobs that are coming to Mobile. We have so many jobs coming to Mobile that we don't have enough people to fill our jobs.
Wow.
So we need to do a better job promoting on the outside of Mobile. Say, hey, come move to Mobile. Come live in our city. We've got a job for you. A really good job.
Interesting.
And it's affordable to live here.
That's right.
And I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
In the neighborhoods I'm knocking on doors, a lot of people talk about that. It's moved from California to here. You know, I was living in a one-story, you know, this is what they're telling me, you know, 2-bedroom, 1-bath in California. Now I've got a 7,000 square foot house, you know, 6 bedrooms, and, you know, I live in a mansion now.
Yeah, and I paid cash.
I was going to say, and I paid cash.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
That's right.
So it's, I mean, it's, you know, you said a while ago, what do we miss out? I mean, people don't realize Mobile is a great place to live. It's a great place to live.
And not to dive too much into this, but also if the annexation passes, it's going to change our size. What do you call
rating?
it? Yes.
Rating as far as how large we are.
That's right.
And what I understand, I mean, and by the way, that's July the 18th. It's annexation, and the 4 areas are going to be voted separately. So it's not you're not voting on just one annexation. You're voting 4 different areas, 4 different sections. If all 4 pass, we're looking to go from either 3rd or 4th straight to 2nd place. So we're 2nd largest in the state of Alabama.
I think we're around 188,000 right now. Is that?
I think it's less than that.
Okay. And then it'll put us over the 200,000 point.
It will put us over 200 and not far from Huntsville.
And that, of course, opens up a whole different world with regard to federal funding and grants and those type of things. I feel like that was the threshold, right?
200,000
okay.
was the threshold. We missed out during COVID. I want to say it was either $43 or $53 million because we were under 200,000 people.
So close.
So when you take into account that, and when you take into account, you know, the aluminum plant that's going to be up in, is it not Citronelle? Bay Minette, up in Bay Minette. And then you've got what's going on down with Airbus. And then, of course, with
also airport.
With that, and when the airport comes here, I was explaining this to somebody the other day, and they didn't quite grasp it. I said, No, see, here's the key is when Austal and Airbus, comes to town, we'll talk about Airbus specifically. When they come in, they're doing all the things they're doing on site. Well, they bring with them a whole slew of other suppliers that have their revenue based on the fact that Airbus is there. So they're suppliers to Airbus for different elements of those airplanes.
Really, Mobile, people don't realize Mobile is about to bust out of seams. You spoke of that, which, that's rail. Things are going to be shipped on rail. Yep. People forget.
What's the port, or not the port, but the container?
Our container ports, we're becoming one of the largest. I mean, I think we're in the top 10. But also, we can't forget about the deepening of our channel. I hadn't talked about really what I've done, but for 20, I was in the military reserves, and my first 6 years was in Marine Corps reserves, and then I switched over and became a special agent with the Coast Guard Investigative Service. So I know a lot about the port, been there thousands of times. But the widening of the ship channel and the deepening of the ship channel, I mean, we're about to bust through the seams with the shipping, the rail. I mean, it's good things are happening for Mobile.
And with the Walmart distribution center where it is off I-10, and then with the Amazon warehouse where it's located, all of that whole area, there's so much warehouse space that was just built. I can't remember the name of that park. It's something in Industrial Park. Yes. I mean, it's massive. It's right over there, and it's super close to I-10. People can take that, go all the way down to the port, put it on a boat, and it's really going to be incredible. So, hey, I mean, what more could we ask for?
That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
So come move to Mobile.
That's it.
Well, come see you if they want to move to Mobile.
And I'll be happy to help you. One of the things that I, kind of come back to talking about Bradley Byrne, which he would be a great guest to have on. Where do you see, 5 years from now, because right now where we are currently, and this is in June of 2023, 5 years from now, all of those things that are on the table are going to be done. Hopefully, I'm very grateful. I'm very much anticipating it. But with all those things being in place that we're talking about now that are on the horizon, where do you see the city of Mobile after that?
I see us, growing tremendously. I see us becoming the largest city in the state of Alabama.
I agree with that.
I think with our city council, we saw the vote that everyone came together and voted on. I see the annexation. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you think, Kyle? And when I first started, I would say, 80-20 it was going to pass, or 80%, or maybe 90-10. Now people are starting to think a little bit. I still think everything's going to pass. All 4 areas are going to pass. A lot of people, they're a little apprehensive about, should I go in, should I not? What's the difference? But a lot of services. But I see us growing tremendously. I see all of our politicians coming together, all of our office holders working as one. I see our current mayor being our mayor in 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing a great job. I've been around Mobile for 60 years. Me personally, we've had some great mayors. The last 2, the last 3, Mayor Outlaw, Mayor Dow, and Mayor Jones. Everyone's worked towards a goal to make Mobile a better place. I just see us all working together and becoming a big city.
Yeah.
I see infrastructure. I see new roads being built to alleviate Airport Boulevard, Dolphin Street, Cottage Hill. Yeah. I see new roads being built. So I see a lot of good things happening. I mean, we talked about the jobs. We talked about the port, the airport, the port deepening, the jobs.
And I have it on, I was told, kind of, in I guess, I don't want to say secret, but, this agent pulled me aside and she said, hey, I've been given some information with some builders that are coming, and we're talking hundreds of houses that are being built. And they would not be doing that just because they felt like it. They're doing that based on intel and things that they've been told about what's coming. So that's exciting.
I would say it is exciting. I know what kind of business you're in. And I would say with caution, let's do it right. Let's don't rush to things. Going in, knocking on the many doors I've knocked on, we have to be careful when we build things. There's a lot of voices that I've heard in District 6. If we start to rush things, then, we have drainage problems. We have erosion. We have, in neighborhoods, we just need to be careful. My house was built in 1987. There's a few problems.
Yeah.
Of course, Mother Nature's going to cause a few problems. We can't predict Mother Nature, but we need to do it smartly. And I know in the business you're in, sell houses, that's great. Let's do it smart.
And hopefully it will be, because we don't want to have more of what happened last week, where they had these torrential downpours, and there were some areas around Mobile that people were freaking out because it never flooded like that before. And so with taking time, we're able to implement the right infrastructure, and so that those things don't happen.
I know you're a big trivia guy, so are we still the second rainiest city? I think Seattle's one.
So actually,
no, it's not one. We're not one.
Actually, I believe we are.
Mm-hmm.
I did some research on it.
Is that from last week?
No,
last 2 weeks.
It's total rainfall for the year, and actually, I looked it up before I made the video. I said, look, I want to make sure I've got my facts straight, and I was shocked to see that it was actually number one. Of course, popular opinion is that Seattle is. But I was reaffirmed with it. So.
Speaking of statistics, and a lot of people ask me this, and someone asked me this yesterday, our crime rate is not what the national media portrays.
I know.
It is not what the national media says.
I don't know. I mean, and the sad part is, it's like some of the people that share it on social media, it's almost like they are excited about it to share it. I'm like,
no,
it's not true.
I mean, our police department, our police officers, our chief of police, Paul Prine, is doing a fabulous job. We're losing 60 to 70 police officers a year through attrition. I mean, the attitude that people have, nationwide against police officers. This gentleman told me, he's a longtime police officer. He's actually in the mayor's staff. He told me, Kyle, when we started law enforcement, people were handing us bottles of water.
Yeah.
Now they're throwing them at them.
Wow. That's.
I mean, you look at that perspective of. I mean, now, so the police officers, the fire department, first responders, they're doing a great job. Our fire department just won a nationwide award with the ambulance service, paramedics that we have. They're in the top 10. I mean, that's good news there.
That's impressive.
But the statistics, that's what the point I was trying to make, is it's not what it says it is.
Well, we're hoping that some of the media will change, and hey, I'm doing my part. Mm-hmm. That's what this is all
there
about.
That's right. That's right.
Not only is this on audio, which of course, you can get that through iTunes, podcasts, Spotify, those kind of things, but also this is on YouTube. So if you do better, with listening or watching on YouTube, you can find that, the Mobile, Alabama podcast channel. But that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make these videos to put as much as I can out there that shows the truth, the core, the people, the Southern hospitality. And I figured if everybody does their part, we'll start to change that narrative so that people see Mobile really for what it is.
Well, like I said, I mean, you give, what did I say, 3 people that I ran into that was kind of rude. So, I mean, if you're moving to Mobile, get with someone that's got a positive attitude.
Yeah.
And you can tell when they're trying to not being quite truthfully, but Mobile is a wonderful place.
Well, and one of the podcast guests we had on previously, Diane Shaver, she was the ultimate spokesperson for the city of Mobile. She's been here for about 1.5 years. And after listening to that podcast, it reminded me of how great this place is. And I had to hear that from the perspective of an outsider who does not take anything for granted. So It was pretty cool. Well, Kyle, I tell you what we like to do, obviously we want to show a little bit of your opinions and personal side with the lightning round. So Avery's going to hit you with some questions before we wrap up. So some of these, you're just going to have to be honest.
Can I do like I'm on the stand and take the fifth?
That's it. Well, you can. Hey, we'll give you 1/5. We'll give you one plead the fifth.
No, I'm gonna answer everything.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
So it's either this or that. So are you going to Foosackly's or Zaxby's?
Foosackly's.
Dreamland or Meat Boss?
Meat Boss.
Old
God
Dutch?
bless his soul. He was a great guy.
Definitely.
Benny Chinnis.
Benny.
Wonderful. Rest in peace, buddy.
The best.
The Old Dutch or Marble Slab?
Old Dutch.
Cravers or the original Oyster House?
Ooh, you put me in a. Give it to me again.
You going to get a Cravers or the original Oyster House?
Cravers.
Okay. Yeah, good answer.
It's in
You going to
Mobile.
take the Bayway or the Causeway?
Oh, I'm a Causeway.
Me too. Airport Boulevard or Cottage Hill?
I can give you a choice. Probably Airport.
Oh, okay. Midtown or
I
West
live
Mobile?
on Airport.
There you go.
Yeah, you get the
Airport.
little shortcut. Midtown or West Mobile?
Oh, Wemo.
That's
West
it.
Mobile.
That's it.
Yellowhammer or Starbucks?
Yellow Hammer.
Briquettes or Longhorn?
Longhorn.
And are you
I
going to
live by this in District 6.
And we ate there last night. John and I had a great meal.
Yeah. And lastly, you're going to Dolphin Island or Gulf Shores?
Dolphin Island.
Nice and quiet.
That's it.
I was the 61st Alabama Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo president in 1993 when you were very young.
Roll
Wow.
Tide to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of great things. There's some
It's
great.
the world's largest fishing tournament.
That's incredible.
World's largest.
And once
That's
again,
just-
those just little things we take for granted, but
Mm-hmm.
they're really incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, Kyle, thank you for joining us. I mean, what a
I thought it was
great.
going to be a tough lightning round.
No, that's it. It's all the
was
things
it.
we love.
We're the light lightning round.
I would say so.
Yeah. Well, if somebody has questions or they want to connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
You know, when I started this campaign, it was just like George Bush said, it's all about timing. This was the right time. You know, I've been in Mobile for 60 years. I've done a lot. Before I started, you know, people call them different things, palm cards, push cards, you know, when a person running for office hands you something that's got a little bit about themselves. But I was handing out my resume because I think that if a person's running for a position of office, you know, they're applying for the job through citizens. And citizens are going to hire that person by voting in the polling booths. So I was handing out my resume. And so I would ask everyone in District 6, you know, before you vote on July the 25th, again, that's Tuesday, July the 5th, polls open at 7 a.m., close at 7 p.m., to go look at everyone's resume. You know, I always said what you've done in the future predicts what you'll do. What you've done in the past will predict what you'll do in the future.
That's good.
And I've worked really hard for 60 years. I told you about my law enforcement. I've told you about my military, a little bit about the military. But I'm more proud of what I've done in civic organizations and charity organizations. I was talking about the Alabama Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo, where I think now they've given close to $1 million to the University of South Alabama Dolphin Island Sea Lab.
Wow.
I'm in another organization called the Alabama Oilman's Golf Tournament, where we give $20,000 each year to Magic Moments. We've given probably $250,000 away. But I'm more proud of what I've done in civic organizations and charity organizations in Mobile for the last 40 years. So I have my resume on my website.
Okay.
And that's www.callahanforcouncil.com. Okay. www.callahan with a G, Callaghan,
Okay.
forcouncil.com.
Okay. Well, great. And we will link that up down below the episode if you're watching on YouTube, and you can check that out. And if you got questions for Kyle, you can go there and connect with him there, or you can leave a comment below and we'll get connected with Kyle and get the answers. And yeah, it's been great to get to know you.
Thank y'all so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love this air conditioning.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
it. That's it. That's it. Well, we're thankful for what's going on with the city of Mobile, and we're just excited to hear a story from someone who's lived here their whole life, that has some great experiences, and once again shines a positive light on this incredible place that we call home. So until next episode, we'll see you then.